Hello action figure fans, HammerTron here with a new action figure review for you. This time I am reviewing the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Nekron MegaFig. This was released in 2022. I bought this in summer of 2023 and here it is in a very nice looking window box. I really like the window boxes. It's the front where we can see the action figure and the accessory, and just a very impressive window box where we can see right through to the top there. Very nice. So here is the top of the box. Wow, I like that window box. Here is the bottom, some manufacturing information there. Here is one side, Nekron, Blackest Night. And the other side, nice big wraparound window where we can look through there. I like seeing this scythe right here. Very nice. Here is the back. It's a nice picture from the comic books, but I really prefer window boxes so I can see the actual action figure because that's what I am buying. Here is the Nekron Mega Figure action figure. Let's see how tall this action figure is. According to the tape measure, it's at 10 inches tall or 25.5 centimeters tall. So I think this is the tallest action figure I have reviewed so far. So it's impressively tall, but very skinny. This action figure comes with this stand, action figure stand. So one peg for the peg hole in the heel. So looks alright. It comes with a card with a picture, the same picture as on the back of the package, and it also has a little biography about Nekron. And he comes with a scythe. So this thing is almost as tall as he is. So nice staff here, nicely sculpted wooden looking thing. A black lantern. And here's the blade, but the blade is very curved. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way or if that's just the way it turned out after being in the package for such a long time. So I'm not really too happy about it being curved like this, but I'm not sure if it's really supposed to be like that. Maybe it is. If it's supposed to be like that, then it's fine, but I kind of doubt it. It's a little hard to straighten it out. If I try to bend it too much, I'm afraid I'll break it. But looks nice. And here is the Nekron figure itself. Now I have the arm sticking out to the side because this shoulder joint is incredibly stiff. It's very hard to move, and while moving it around, it actually came out of the socket. I was very worried because I thought it was broken, but it's a ball peg, so it actually wasn't broken, but I was pushing and pulling so hard that it just popped out of the socket, so I was able to plug it back in, but that's an incredibly stiff joint, so it can be moved, but it's just not much fun because I'm afraid it'll snap one day. So here he is with a very big skull, nicely sculpted and painted there. Collar piece with some loops, very soft pliable plastic here. A very ugly gaping hole in the chest. I have not read this story, so I'm not sure why this character is like this, but here's an extra pliable plastic piece that is wrapped around the body and around to the waist and leading to a kind of a cape down here, all plastic, very soft pliable plastic. He also has a bracelet here, and this part is permanently bent because of how it was packaged in the packaging. I think it should be sticking straight out, but it's soft pliable plastic and it was put into plastic tray, so it's permanently bent. And then the fingers looks a little I wonder if they got smashed or if they're supposed to be like that. It seems like they're a little bit smashed. Maybe the fingers should stick out a little more than they do. Looks alright though. Scary. And here's the other arm going into a fist there. With some long legs here. Nice sculpture. Looks like there's some lines here, but there are no actual joints there. And then we go down to the boots. We have peg holes on the heel. Here's the back of the cape. And this part is, I think, meant to be a hood, but it's plastic, so it's sculpted this way, so it'll never actually, we'll never be able to move this up and put it on his head, which is too bad. It'd be kind of nice if we could do that, but lots of sculpture here, very hideous and ugly looking. So Nekron, according to the biography on the card, is supposed to be the manifestation of death in the DC comic book universe, so he can summon the dead to serve him. So, and he uses the Black Lantern, so he's one of Green Lantern's enemies. Let's take a look at the articulation here. We can move the head up that much and down, turn side to side. A little bit of tilting there, actually quite a bit of tilting, very nice. The joint, this side is very loose and we can move that. It's limited by the pliable plastic clothes. This one, I can move it, but it's very stiff. It'll click, and I think I'll take the arm out of the socket again, so I don't want to do that. So this goes around. It's limited by the plastic here. This part actually moves around more. No bicep cut. We have double jointed elbows, so that is working. That is working. And the wrist can turn. And the wrist can turn. Oh, I haven't noticed any hinges. There does not seem to be any articulation here. No diaphragm cut, because that would break the sculpture here. And if there is a waist articulation, it is locked down by this pliable plastic overlay to simulate the clothes. So I can kind of wiggle it, but it's not really moving. So we have hip joints, which I think we can do much better than this. However, it's being hindered by this cape here, so we can't really do the splits. Kick forward that much. Well, maybe a little more, except it's being hindered. Same thing on this side. Double jointed knees, so very stiff. The upper joint here is very, very stiff. Well, I think we could get more, except it's being hindered by this plastic cape piece. Yeah, the upper joint is very stiff on both sides, so it'll move, but it's a very loud clicking noise. No boot cut, but we can turn at the ankle on both sides. And you can do the tippy toes, that much, and go up that much. Pretty good. And we have no pivot, but we have toe articulation. So It's also a little difficult to get it to stand. We'll see if I can get this thing to stand. So, actually, it's pretty hard to get this thing to stand. And a lot of the joints are very stiff. That one was so stiff that this thing would rather come apart than actually articulate. So, this plastic piece kind of looks cool, but this is the case where we would need some sort of cloth goods or some kind of fabric material to represent the cape so that we could have a nice hood. And if we have cloth or fabric here, that would not interfere with the articulation nearly as much. So this is a little bit disappointing. Here is Nekron next to a pair of 4-inch action figures. On the right is an adventurer from an Animal Planet set I reviewed a while ago. On the left is the Fortnite Jonesy action figure by Jazzwares. And Nekron makes a great giant undead monster for 4-inch scale action figures. Here is Nekron next to a group of action figures. On the far left is 6 1/4 inches tall, the Action Force Condor action figure by Valiverse. Next action figure, 6 inches tall, Fortnite Legendary Series Havoc action figure by Jazzwares. And then on the right side is the Masters of the Universe Masterverse He-Man action figure by Mattel, and that is 7 inches. So Nekron makes a great undead monster that scales well with these 6 and 7 inch scale action figures. So it's great for different dioramas. Here is Nekron next to the other Blackest Night action figures from McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse. I didn't know they were all part of the same set because there's no cross-sell on the back that includes all of the action figures. Nekron. I don't think there are any other Blackest Night characters that have been made into action figure form yet. So from the left to the right we have Deathstorm, Superman, Batman, Nekron, Atrocitus, and Green Lantern Kyle Rayner. And before Atrocitus, the Red Lantern was the tallest action figure I had, but it looks like Nekron is even taller than he is. So I'm happy that Nekron is a very tall and imposing looking action figure. However, I'm disappointed with the quality of the Nekron action figure. So it's a nice looking set. I hope there are more Black Lantern action figures. It's an interesting design, although they are kind of ugly being zombies, but still it's an interesting group and a good group of bad guys to battle against the good guys. So I'm going to rank these from least favorite to favorite, and my least favorite is Nekron because I'm most disappointed with the limitations and problems with the joints on that action figure, so that's my least favorite. Then it is Batman, and then Superman, and Kyle Rayner, and then Deathstorm. And out of the whole group, my favorite is Atrocitus. I think Atrocitus was my favorite out of the group, excluding Nekron. So Atrocitus is still my favorite out of this group of DC Multiverse action figures. So it looks pretty cool. Just disappointing how the articulation is not quite working on Nekron and how I can't get him into some very dynamic poses. My final thoughts on this DC Multiverse Mega Figure Nekron is it's just not a very good action figure. I'm pretty disappointed with it. Part of it could be just this particular figure. I had the bad luck to get one that had some problems with the joints. Some of the other problems I think are common across all of the Nekron action figures. So the problems I had, this shoulder joint extremely stiff, and by trying to articulate it, it comes out of the socket, so Not a pleasant experience, but it wasn't broken, this time anyway. This plastic cape robe thing, yeah, it certainly looks cool. I like how the sculpture makes it look good, but it interferes with the articulation of the legs, so that's very disappointing. It's hard to get it in any dynamic poses. So this is a case where cloth goods or fabric or something like that would be much better on an action figure like this. That way we can use the leg articulation, although cloth would not look quite as good as the plastic sculpted cape, but we still want to be able to use the action figure because it's an action figure. It's an ugly looking thing, but that's the whole point. It's supposed to be an ugly Lord of Space zombie monster type character, and I think that'll be great for displays or dioramas, but the limited articulation just limits how we can use it. It can only really stand there and look big and scary, which is good enough, but it'd be nice to put it in more dynamic poses, to have it in some action poses. The scythe is pretty cool looking, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to be bent like that or not. Also, there's a problem with putting it in the hand. It's very difficult to put it in this gripping hand, so I can only put it in this more open hand and kind of lean it in there. So yeah, it's another disappointing thing about this action figure. Or it's barely an action figure, it's almost more like a statue, and that's too bad. So it looks cool, just not quite very good as an action figure, so pretty disappointing. Thank you for watching my review. Remember to like the video, leave a comment. Let me know if you've had better luck with your Nekron action figures, and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my future reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.